So welcome to the session on learning analytics for student success. Through this presentation, I would like to uh, present to the chairs, deans, and instructional designers um, some of the findings of my analysis of um, students' engagement in discussion and its correlation with the final course performance. So the data that I reviewed signaled that there is a positive correlation between class discussion and students' outcome in a course. Therefore, there is a potential early indicator for academic success of the students in the course. So this analysis is based on a course that I taught in spring 2026 called College Writing 1. Um, and after um, a few months of teaching this course, um, when I was tasked with uh, engaging with learning analytics, this was one of the courses that came to my mind, which could be a potential example for how learning analytics could inform our teaching, course designing, and students' learning. So as an executive summary, the overall average final grade in the course was 92.4. Average discussion posts per student were 33.8. Average reads or views per student were 100.2. And the correlation between the students' participation in class discussion and their final grade was 0.69. So the core finding was that more discussion activity aligned with better final grade. So there is a leadership implication in that, which is that the posts and students' reading of those posts could be an early indicator of a student's success. So why this analysis is important? Because it focuses on student success. It can inform in advance to the academic advisors, and administrators whether or not a student is going to eventually stay on the trajectory of success. There are implications for course design as well. So this analysis is important because it also informs decision by um, instructional designers to revise a course in view of students' participation in class discussion. And then finally, for program leadership, who can evaluate based on this correlation the effectiveness of faculty course development programs. So the central question, can discussion activities serve as an early signal of student success? So the objective of this learning analytic is to examine whether online discussion engagement is associated with final course grades. And the guiding question throughout is, do students who participate more earn better grades? So there is a limitation of this learning analytic, which is that this um, relationship between students' participation in class discussion and their final grade is just a correlation. There is no causation involved here. Now, where that data came from? So the data came from Brightspace, uh, which I used for executing this online asynchronous course. So there were two documents which I extracted from Brightspace. The first one was the statistics of student discussion data, uh, which numerically uh, gave me the number of total threads, the number of replies, the number of reads, and total posts um, posted by each student. And then the other document was the overall grading breakdown from gradebook. In total, there were 16 students in the class. 4 engagement metrics were used. Um, engagement in discussion metrics were used, which were threads, replies, sorry, reads, and total posts. 2 success outcomes were marked as potential indicator of um, indicator of um, failing the course eventually, and then the number of course section was just 1. So the analytic approach that I adopted was uh, based on descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive framework. So I used that data, matched the files uh, in a way, um, developed a history of students' engagement in the course, which then I used for diagnosis by calculating the posts, the discussions, the final grades, um, and that diagnosis helped me to see the correlation between class participation and the eventual grade. And then the predictive sub-framework uh, helped me to see how those statistics could inform the future course of student success. And then under prescriptive, I was able to suggest some actions for improvement. So along that learning curve framework, um, we looked at engagement signals, learning behaviors, academic performance, and course improvement as a curve um, that we are able to establish through the analysis of the data which was available to us. Um, so this chain uh, gives us a kind of uh, scaffolding of um, how one set of data leads us to make one decision, and then based on that we are able to make second, third, and fourth decision as well. So we could decide about engagement signal, and based on that we could analyze and decide the learning behavior of the students, and based on that their academic performance, and eventually based on that academic performance we could decide about the potential improvements in the course which were possible. So this is a kind of visual representation of the class overall. The class average on the left along y-axis, while at the bottom along x-axis we see the discussion posts. In the left in the left chart, average online discussion engagement, and then final grade distribution on the right. Calculated grade is along the x-axis, and the number of students along the y-axis. So once again, we visually see here how most students performed well, if not necessarily if, but the students who performed well also engaged well in class discussion. So in this distribution of student final grade, we can point out the high risk area, which is the left bottom, the watch zone, which is the right bottom, but then the strong stable area on the top on right in green. So it's a kind of matrix, risk management matrix of the class overall, which gives us uh, uh, quite insignificant number of students who were at the risk. But obviously, um, we are supposed to make important decisions regarding course revision uh, and redesigning and iteration in the course based on whatever uh, smaller population uh, is based on our observation of the smaller population exposed to the risk of being failed in a course. So the data that we just saw that informs us that engagement matters, higher engagement, higher probability of success. Reading of the post by the students also matters. So the higher number of students reading the post, or a student reading higher number of posts, is also an indicator of eventual better grade. And then based on these observations, we can intervene early based on just a few weeks. Disengagement by the student can be flagged as a potential warning for um, students' downward trajectory in engagement and in success uh, of the course. And then the overall design can shape the engagement. That could be um, and that could be a potential recommendation for instructional designers as well, to present the course in a manner where discussion stands out for the student as an important central learning activity. So recommendation for faculty is to monitor weekly posts and then read them and design prompt and rubric for meaningful interaction. And then if there is a low engagement, they should take quick action in order to anticipate any potential risk factor. For the program leaders, they should try to build a simple dashboard where the post could be quickly read and it could be easier for students to respond. Um, so one potential problem in the discussion forum in general could be it's not usually possible for us to save the draft of our response to a student's post, right? So, I mean, this is not a very big thing, but still it's a design problem in the discussion forum in general. So it is something which program leaders can take into account and can recommend to the professional administrators to kind of look into. And then program leaders can also include engagement patterns in the review and assessment of the course or of the faculty for that matter. And then they should also offer better support to faculty for the development along the lines of how to produce engaging discussion. And then finally, they can help student they can help the faculty to align with student success offices, which include academic advisor office, where students can reach out in order to prepare themselves for better participation in class discussion. So currently we have writing centers and other student support system available, but discussion being an important factor, it merits uh, extra attention outside the class by some other offices as well to kind of boost student engagement in class discussion. And then finally, recommendations for instructional design teams. They can review the courses if there is an opportunity to look at the discussion templates, encourage the discussion which is more argumentative, which engages the students, which allows the students to synthesize a point of discussion. And then there could be some inbuilt set of reminders for the students as well. If they miss the discussion post, they should get an automatic reminder if faculty member wishes to do so. The rubric should be more clear when it comes to discussion. And then finally, uh, there should be a way for redesigning the format of deadlines for discussion as well, so that students get more uh, prompts and reminders to complete the discussion in a timely manner. So thank you so much for your attention. If any question, please post it in the discussion.